In the heart of the Canadian wilderness, buried under relentless snow, there was a forgotten village called Cold Hollow. For most of the year, silence ruled. Deep, heavy silence that blanketed everything like the snow itself. Life moved slowly. The old chapel stood at the village center, surrounded by crooked houses and a graveyard that hadn't seen a new burial in nearly a decade. The first sign came with a little girl named Elsie Dubois. She was a quiet child, withdrawn, pale-skinned, with blue eyes too knowing for someone her age. Her father, the village's gravedigger, had taken her with him one afternoon to clear snow from the cemetery. While he worked among the tilted headstones, Elsie wandered off, only for a few minutes. But when he found her, she was kneeling in the snow beside an unmarked grave, her small hands pressed against the ice-covered ground, her lips moving soundlessly. From that moment forward, something inside her began to shift. She no longer spoke to anyone in the language they knew. Strange, choked syllables filled her voice, guttural phrases that twisted unnaturally from her throat. Her eyes seemed darker, less human. At night, her parents would hear her whispering to things that weren't there. Her drawings changed too. No more flowers or birds, but images of rotting figures with hollow eyes, bones rising from graves, and children standing at the edge of bottomless pits. Fear took root in the home. The villagers kept their distance. In desperation, the local priest, Father Mikhail, was summoned. He arrived just as the snow began to fall heavier, thickening the silence around the chapel. What he encountered in the Dubois home chilled him to his bones. The girl sat motionless on the floor, her eyes fixed on a corner of the ceiling where nothing could be seen. Her presence radiated something ancient, something wrong. It felt as if the room itself recoiled around her. Father Mikhail returned to the chapel with a stack of forgotten tomes, hoping to find answers. In one of them, he uncovered a legend passed down by the region's indigenous tribes. Long ago, an ancient demon had been sealed beneath the frozen ground, a being so old that its name had been lost to time. According to the tale, it had been buried beneath the earth by shamans, locked away beneath an unmarked grave and guarded in silence. Elsie had touched that grave. The following night, the girl vanished without a sound. The village erupted in panic. Torches were lit and groups set off into the snow. But the storm was relentless, and it was Father Mikhail who found her, standing barefoot and still at the edge of the graveyard near the forest's edge. Around her, the snow hissed as if burned, and the ground beneath her feet steamed. The trees nearby were blackened, scorched by some unseen heat. She didn't look human anymore. Her face had aged in unnatural ways, her eyes bottomless and cruel. Whatever had emerged from the grave had taken root inside her. Father Mikhail stood alone before her, wind screaming around him. With trembling hands, he clutched his crucifix and began the sacred rites. The storm twisted into a frenzy. The wind howled with voices not of this world, and the trees moaned as if mourning. The ground trembled, the air thickened. The girl, no longer just a girl, began to convulse violently, her limbs contorting, her body resisting the power that now confronted it. And then light cracked through the sky. From beyond the clouds, a radiant glow pierced the storm and poured down upon them. The shadow that clung to the child began to wail, its sound like a chorus of agony, and in a final tortured cry, it was torn from her body. Smoke erupted from her mouth, rising and dissolving into the icy air. The black mist scattered. The forest fell silent once more. Elsie collapsed in the snow. When she awoke, she remembered nothing of the grave, nothing of the voice that had spoken through her. But something had changed. The air in Cold Hollow felt different, like the weight of 1,000 winters had been lifted. The villagers buried the grave deeper than before and covered it with consecrated soil. They never allowed their children to enter the cemetery again. The priest kept vigil every night for weeks after, watching the skies and the shadows. Though peace had returned, he understood what the others refused to speak aloud. The seal had been broken once, and the snow never forgets the sound of ancient voices